Hello, everybody, and welcome to M2M coverage. First of all, as you can see, all of our backgrounds, rest in peace to Chadwick Boseman. Um, Wakanda forever. Everybody, if you guys want to say some words about him first.
Yeah, Chadwick Boseman was, a global inspiration. Like before him, there was Wesley Snipes with Blade, but really wasn't like a majority minority cast for any superhero films, and he really was a trailblazer in the industry. He kind of paved the path for other superheroes that we're going to see in the future, like Shang-Chi, Kamala Khan with Miss Marvel, and just the type of impact that he had to so many communities. Like if you remember the hype before Black Panther, where he had entire communities just rejoicing and wearing their cultural garb and being proud of their culture, and the fact that he kept this hidden for the past 4 years and just kept giving us quality entertainment while keeping his own struggles to himself. It just shows how humble of a person he is and how strong of a person he is. And I hope he rests easy.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Kevin. We know you're a big Marvel fan, and we definitely want to pay our tributes to Chadwick Boseman as we begin this segment. So now we'll get into the Eastern Conference predictions. We just finished the first round of the Eastern Conference. The second round is set. We got Raptors Celtics starting soon, and Heat Bucks. Also, by the time you're watching this, Raptors Celtics will have already started, but just know we're recording it before Raptors Celtics is starting. So with that said, let's get to the first pick and I guess sort of explanations for what you saw from the first round that is going to influence your pick. So we'll begin with Geoffrey, who's having some interesting backgrounds over there. Geoffrey, who are you taking in Raptors Celtics and why, and how many games?
The Raptors have been great so far, but I'm going to take the Celtics in 7, and this is why. The Celtics, with Kemba Walker back, they have been amazing, first of all. And then, their bench isn't great, and then they're missing Gordon Hayward, but then the Raptors are also missing Kyle Lowry. And then this, like I said before, this starting lineup is just really, really, really good. It's one of the best starting lineups in the league. And not only that, I think that the Celtics also have a great coach in Brad Stevens, and I believe that they can beat the Raptors in 7.
Okay, that's a fair point. We'll move on to Gabe, who's our NBA predictions guy. He's joining us again.
So I got the same amount of game 7, but I got the Raptors winning in 7. You mentioned that the Celtics might have the best starting 5, and while that is true, the Celtics have an average bench at best. I don't think their bench is high quality to any degree. The Raptors might have the best depth in the league. It's just that no matter who's playing, it seems like they're winning. Whether like Pascal is out, Marc Gasol is out, Kyle Lowry's out, it always seems like they just know how to win against the best teams. And I don't know. It's just like Nick Nurse really knows how to assign matchups on defense and offense. I think the Raptors are going to win. I think it'll be close, but I think they'll win in 7.
That's a very fair point. Another thing to mention is Gordon Hayward is a big loss for the Celtics. And yeah, with that said, Kevin, who's your pick?
Yeah. I got the Raptors in 7 as well. I think Gabe touched on it really well. Boston's bench is a huge problem. So Marcus Smart's actually a pretty good replacement for Gordon Hayward, but Marcus Smart doesn't have that ability to be a one-on-one scorer like Gordon Hayward. He still can do the pick and roll like Gordon Hayward, which actually the Boston's offense is really good at. But if you look at the bench, they have not scored 20-plus points. The bench has not scored 20-plus points besides one game, and that was in a blowout win where a lot of them got garbage time. If you look at last game, Enes Kanter had 6 points in 16 minutes. Brad Wanamaker had 2 points in 17 minutes. Those are not quality, efficient bench players that you need to rely on in such a high-stake playoff series such as this. Whereas the Raptors, I'm concerned about Kyle Lowry's injury. I don't know how impactful that injury is going to be, but they have good depth. Norman Powell really is good. If you look at him throughout the whole season. His plus minus is off the charts. And Anunoby, I think that he can be stifling on Jason Tatum. I don't think he's going to stop Jason Tatum, but he can definitely do his best to make it hard on the Celtics. I think the Raptors are well coached. Celtics are well coached too, but Raptors do have a good counter. I'm going to go with the Raptors in 7.
Okay, yes. So we all think this series is going 7 games. I have the Celtics in 7. So you guys are definitely right, Kevin and Gabe, about the Raptors and their defense, their depth. I think Nick Nurse is the better coach in this series, and he really has Kyle Lowry and Fred VanVleet playing aggressive defense on their toes, and they can really get physical with the Celtics in the starting lineup. But I do think that if the Celtics can keep it close, I know the Raptors are going to jump out to leads in the first quarter because they're a well-coached team and they know how to give effort. But I think if the Celtics can keep it close, keep it under 10 points, then I do have faith in Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Kemba to make those shots down the stretch. More faith than I have in Kyle Lowry and Fred VanVleet. So for that reason, I'm going to take the Celtics. And Kevin and Gabe both mentioned the lack of depth on the Celtics bench. And you guys did mention Enes Kanter and Brad Wanamaker. But I do like the way that Grant Williams is playing off the bench. And I also think that Kanter is a great offensive rebounder. So I think if those positives can give some upside to the Celtics, that they can win in 7 games. But it's going to be close regardless.
Yeah, and another thing I would like to mention is that the Celtics and the Raptors played each other 5 times this season already, and the Celtics have 4-1, and they also blew out the Raptors in the bubble. So, I mean, it's regular season. It's not the same as the playoffs, but we'll see what happens.
And just a note on that, when the Celtics beat the Raptors in the seeding games, yes, the Celtics do seem to have the edge throughout the whole season as they lead the season series 3-1. But they had Gordon Hayward for that, and we don't really know how the Celtics will match up with the Raptors without Gordon Hayward.
Okay, that sounds like a good moving on point. We got the Heat and the Bucks. Johnny Bulnes is our Heat fan. We'll probably have him on after this series is over. But this is a great matchup. This is a very underrated matchup in that the Heat are the 5 seed and the Bucks are the 1 seed. But it could be anyone's series. Geoffrey, Heat, Bucks, who you got?
You know what? I'll say this. I was wrong about the Heat beating the Pacers. The Pacers beating the Heat. They really exceeded my expectations, but I think it was also because the Pacers were just injured. Oladipo didn't look good whatsoever. He looked like he was still injured. Sabonis didn't play, and then TJ Warren, I know what happened to him at the regular season games of the bubble. And, I know people think that, Bam Adebayo is a Giannis chopper, but let's be honest, there's no such thing as a Giannis chopper. And not only that, one of the reasons that the Raptors beat the Bucks last year was because of their height. The Raptors are one of the, tallest teams in the league. On the other end, if you look at Miami, they're extremely undersized. And because of that, I think the Bucks can beat the Miami Heat in 5 games.
5 games?
5 games.
You're gonna say that with those gleaming dark eyes?
Yep, 5 games. Calling it right now.
Okay, I have some disagreements with you there, and I also think that it's not just gonna be Bam obviously guarding Giannis because Eric Spoelstra is gonna have some double teams, but that's a bold prediction. Hats off to you for that. Gabe, who you got?
Yeah, so I made the same mistake. I picked the Pacers in 7. I'm gonna have to reevaluate some of my basketball knowledge after that series because the Heat absolutely manhandled the Pacers, and I'm not gonna lie, I slept on the Heat's shooting ability. I figured that because they rely on so much young talent that maybe they would fall off to the Pacers, but they're looking really scary, and I think I might have the Heat over the Bucks. I think I might have it in 6 or 7. I'm leaning 6 actually. The Magic played the Bucks and they played their hearts out and kept it close throughout the entire series pretty much. It makes me a little afraid that if the Bucks play some better teams that have heart like the Heat do, that it'll be a lot closer. And so for those reasons, I have the Heat in 6. It's going to be a fun series to watch. I'm really curious to see if the Heat's shooting ability can stay as high quality as it did. I could be very wrong with this because I could see the Bucks winning in 6 or 7 too, not 5. I'm gonna give the Heat a little more respect there, but it's gonna be a very fun series. So I got the Heat in 6. Shut up, dogs! I got the Heat in 6, and we'll see what happens.
Do your dogs have a prediction as well?
No, they're just kind of annoying, you know.
Okay, yeah, I like those points, and I also like the fact that you mentioned the Heat's shooting. One thing I think the Heat have is a sort of tenacity, a sort of swagger, and they're definitely not going to be afraid of these Bucks just because they're the 1 seed. So with that said, Kevin, who you got?
I got the Heat in 7. And first of all, Heat Nation, let Geoffrey Aji have it in the comments in your reaction to this video, because calling the Bucks in 5 is absolute disrespect. When you said Pacers in 7 and the Heat swept the Pacers, like, have you not gained any ounce of respect for this Miami team? Look, I was high in Miami, but I wasn't this high. I'm actually blown away at the way they're playing. Their shooting is outstanding. Jimmy Butler is playing incredible basketball, and this team is well coached, right? So obviously there is no Giannis stopper. Giannis is probably the defending. I mean, he's probably going to repeat as MVP, but he's the reigning MVP. And the way that he has played, it's kind of hard to stop him, especially on transition defense. But if you look at the way that the Heat actually play him and how Eric Spoelstra, strategizes for him, he does have Bam on him, but also they create a wall, and they bring in supporters like Goran Dragic on the perimeter to help on that defense to kind of stifle Giannis, and that's why Giannis has to force it back out and kick it out. So that type of defense is really stifling. And also Chris Middleton has been struggling. I mean, the last 2 games he did have double-doubles, but like the way he's just been playing in the Magic series did not look like his former self. And the Heat lead the season series 2-1 obviously doesn't mean that much, but it shows that the Heat are a good matchup for the Bucks. Like, they match up well against Milwaukee. Milwaukee's I mentioned this in the other video, one of their flaws is actually that 3-point defense. A team that can shoot can beat them, and Miami is a team that can shoot. Tyler Hero can shoot. You have Duncan Robinson. Jimmy Butler doesn't like taking 3-pointers, but he's clutch when he needs to be. And the last time that he beat them, Giannis had 13 points in 30 minutes. That's crazy. And of course, like, the last time they played was in the seeding games, and the Bucks beat them. But Bam only played 21 minutes, and Jimmy Butler did not play at all. So, I think Jimmy Butler really gives a new energy to this Heat defense. I'm gonna go with the Heat in 7.
I'm with you there. I got Heat in 7 as well. We were both right on that Bucks in 5 prediction, which was a pretty good prediction in my opinion. But yeah, so another thing to mention is Goran Dragic, right? Goran Dragic actually led the Heat in scoring in that series. He was having 23 points per game against the Pacers, and he came off the bench, which is a very good role for him. Eric Spoelstra has really opened up his game. And going back to the shooting, the Heat definitely have the shooting there. And then on the other side with the Bucks, so you got Giannis, right? Giannis is going to score his points. He's going to assert himself in the paint. But then who are the other scorers? You have Middleton and then Bledsoe and Lopez. That's pretty much it. Meanwhile, the Heat are like the definition of depth, right? You got Iggy is coming off the bench. Kendrick Nunn, Jay Crowder, all of these guys, Kelly Olynyk, they're all very strong 3-and-D type players. And so the way the Heat are coached, the way they run around the court and set each other up, they give up good shots for great shots. I think the Heat can win in 7 games, and Heat Nation should be happy because they're going to win this series.
You know what? I'll say this though. The only way the Bucks can win the series is Chris Middleton steps up. He's been inconsistent throughout the bubble. The last 2 games, he's really stepped up. And I think he's going to be good in the series. And I think another player that people don't talk about enough is Dante DiVincenzo. So he's been okay so far, but I think you'll see him really step up in the series. And because of that, I see the Bucks winning it.
But 5 games is just outrageous.
You'll see.